Hey, and we're live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA.
Where we bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing so you can start your day off the AFA way. And in case you forgot what that is,
Oh
we're here
my gosh.
to
That's
remind you.
right. We're here to remind you you're absolutely fucking amazing exactly as you are. And you may get tired of hearing that every weekday morning, but guess what? You need to hear it because the way we're wired is not to really accept that. Like there's a flaw, there's something that needs to be changed. We need to be better. We need to learn something. Yeah, bullshit. You're absolutely amazing exactly as you are.
Exactly. And it just starts with having the awareness that you are
Yes,
worth it. There's no one more important than you.
you are.
And you are enough. Absolutely. God,
Mhm.
here we are. Ready? New month, new day, new hour, new minute. All we have is right now, March 1st.
Springtime is coming.
It's actually
I
lighter out.
get so excited.
Me too.
I
Me
love the
too.
change of the seasons.
Yeah, the year's going by really fast. I
Yeah,
mean, we
blowing by. So here we are on March 1st, 2021. And yesterday, I started on the Daily Love. We are revisiting Emmett Fox's 7-day mental diet.
ooh, I like
Now, he
that.
wrote this pamphlet in 1935, and it was a pamphlet. And let me tell you the power behind that pamphlet. Tony Robbins, before he started his career, he noted in his book, he talks about he found this pamphlet and it literally changed his life. And I think Tony Robbins has done pretty damn well in the life path that he's taken, which is all about realizing that what you think today is what creates the life that you have tomorrow. So we're on the 7-day mental diet.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'm going to just step back and give you what we talked about yesterday, and that is that diet is something that we always focus on, and it's always from a standpoint of food, right?
Mhm.
And experts in the subject, yeah, Jesus, right? Oh, I love Jesus. So experts on the subject, say that physically you become the thing that you eat, that your whole body is really composed of the food that you have eaten in the past.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
think about it, heart disease and hardening of the arteries and all of the, chronic health issues that we have a little later in life are
Yes.
all based on what we ate 20, 30 years ago and over the course of time. It just progresses
Mm,
that way most of the time, right? There's some
yes.
genetics in there, of course, but the point is what our life circumstances are, our prosperity, our relationship status, where we live, what's present in our life is all a result of what we feed our mind, our brain. What are the thoughts that we hold? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the mental diet is about changing the negative thought patterns, which we talk about this all the time. It's how we're wired evolutionarily. We're wired to
Right.
be negative to keep us alive. How do we tweak that and change it and turn it to positive thoughts? Because that's what's going to give you your life that you want.
There you go. We ready? Everyone ready? Everyone go get your pair of sunglasses. Go get a pair of glasses readers. And what we're going to put on right now is our love goggles, right?
Love goggles.
Love goggles.
It's a different world.
It is. So two ways to look at the world, right?
Yep.
Through the fuzzy no goggles, can be a little negative, can just be a
Yep.
little triggering. And so when that happens, right, you just remind yourself, breathe. And where are my love goggles? I want to choose to see the world through the eyes of love.
And yeah. And so here is the tidbit for today. This is the second day of the 7-day mental diet. You can go back and if you're part of the Daily Love, you can go back and start what we talked about yesterday and go forward from there. And so here's what we talked about. Let me just pop this up, Sherry.
I love it.
Make sure everybody knows how to get to the Daily Love if they want to
Yes.
get that text every morning. So
Mm-hmm.
you can go back and you can look at yesterday's, but today's is really about recognizing that we are creatures of habit. It's just the way we're wired. And so what do we habitually think about? I mean, think about it. When you get up in the morning, what's your routine? Do you normally do the same thing? You brush your teeth with the same hand, you do things in the same order. Really look at it. You think you're just, whatever choosing. You're a habit machine and you will do things the same way. So what we're going to do over this next 7 days is just tweak that habit of what you're focusing your thoughts on. Are they the negative thoughts or are they positive thoughts? That's the tweak.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So
So
quick example.
Yeah,
Go ahead. No, go.
Yeah,
No, you go.
no. I love examples. Brings
I
them
love
to
the
life.
examples. It does bring it to life. So I woke up, you guys, I'm just going to laugh. So I've been experimenting with cannabinoids. And I woke up this morning to something different. I woke up with a box of Cheez-Its in my bed. All right, funny, not funny. However, I'm going to tell you that the cannabinoid worked. The Delta 8 stimulated my appetite, which actually, we're going to talk about it this Friday. That's going to be our fun fact Friday. But anyways, the whole point I'm trying to make is I woke up with Cheez-Its in my bed and I was like, oh no. Oh my. So then there's thoughts and the chatter, right?
Oh yeah.
Started to go on and make it negative.
I don't know about you, but I've woken up in the morning with things in my bed where I was like, what did I do?
What did I do? Hey, Cheez-Its, it could be worse.
I'd be proud to have Cheez-Its in my bed, Sherry. I love Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its.
They're great. So here's the thing. So I could stuck with that thought that, oh my God, you're eating unhealthy again. Oh my God, what did you do? You ate a half a box of Cheez-Its in the middle of the night, right?
Sounds like heaven to me.
So the shift of perception was this.
Yeah.
That Delta 8 gummy works.
Yes.
Right?
It works.
Thank you, Delta 8 gummy. And so now I just adjust that thought and just be like, okay, I'm going to have carrot sticks ready in the refrigerator in the middle of the night if I wake up with the munchies.
Joe said he had Cheez-Its for dinner too.
Oh, good. So
Babe, I feel left out now. I didn't have any Cheez-Its, but you know what? Now it's in here. Next time I go to buy the store, you know what's coming out? Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its. Absolutely. So here we go.
All right, here we go. So my word of the day today is awareness. Just being aware of what thoughts are popping into my head and what I'm allowing to stay there. That's it. That's the only thing I'm going to do. Just be aware of it. I'm not going to try to change it. I'm just going to notice.
There you go. I like that. A word, right? Yeah. So Ananda is going to be my word. Ananda. Yeah. Ananda is bliss, the Sanskrit word for bliss. So yes, I'm going to choose bliss today. And really, like I said, the mental awareness makes sense to me. Ananda mean, I think of taking in a deep breath of that nice cannabinoids and it brings bliss through my body. So I am going to remember to my airway, Ananda, awareness.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to do the
day
we get done when we're done with this morning. I'm definitely going to click that on. When you just said breath, I was right there. Hey, Carrie, really good tool. You can eat crackers in my bed anytime, baby. That's a quote from Barbara Mandel.
You're making me smile. That's so funny. That is so funny. Cheez-Its for the win. Motivational Monday.
Here we go.
This is really good. So what do we wake up every single day to bring you hugs and nugs of cannabinoid education, positivity. We want to remind you guys that you have the tools at your disposal to heal mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Yes. One of those tools in the toolbox that I discovered that I never learned about in school is the endocannabinoid system and cannabinoid therapeutics.
Learned about it.
Never learned about it.
No.
Yep. So so what's interesting is that I didn't know what I didn't know. And I didn't know that I didn't know it. So once
that's the fruit of transformation, right? Is exposing things that you didn't know that you didn't know.
Yeah.
And that's the majority of knowledge to be had is stuff that we don't know, we don't even know.
Exactly.
So here we are.
Here we are. So in 2018, this is why we're so passionate about what we do. The National Council of State Boards of Nursing put out the guidelines in the Journal of Nursing Regulations for medical cannabis.
Yeah.
And the National Council State Boards of Nursing puts on, or they create the NCLEX exam that every nurse must take in order to be licensed in the particular state. So
Mm-hmm.
they identified 6 essential areas of knowledge about cannabis for
Yeah.
all nurses, nursing students, and
Uh-huh.
advanced practice nurses. That's big stuff. That's big
Big.
stuff.
That is the
Yep.
stake in the ground that says this is real, folks. Cannabis is a medicine. We're moving this forward. We don't care what the government's told us for the last 100 years. It's complete and utter bullshit. We're science-based. We know there's evidence. There's tons of evidence, and this is what we're saying. We're saying that this is what the nursing community needs to know.
Yes. And so we're
Yeah.
just going to talk about 2 of them today, because we're
Yep.
going through these every single week because we
Yep.
want you to understand how important it is to nurses. And you know,
Mhm.
once you go down that rabbit hole, you cannot go back. Once you know what
No.
you know, you
Right.
can't go back.
Right.
Right.
Once
So
you know
Mark,
that Santa's not real, he's never real again, sadly.
right.
Mm, yeah.
So the 2 we're going to talk about today, we're
Yes.
going to cover one big one, but then we're
Yep.
also going to cover a little one because it kind of ties into it. So what are the 2
Yeah,
we're going to
baby.
talk about today,
All right.
Mark?
The first one is number 3, bullet point number 3 in the guidelines. And this is, like you said, Sherry, this is the biggie. This is the meat right here. Number 3 is the nurse shall have an understanding of the endocannabinoid system, cannabinoid receptors, cannabinoids, and the interactions between them.
There you go.
THC and CBD today, but
Yes.
yeah, big.
Yes.
And there's a lot. I mean, you know what? You just have to be aware
Yeah.
that nurses are leading this charge. Really, the nursing community has really embraced cannabinoid medicine because we see the results, right? We're at the bedside. We're with the patient. We see the results of what this plant medicine can do. So we're leading the charge. Now, our friend Carrie Clark has written a great nursing guidebook, right?
Yes.
Really, I think one of the first, if not the first,
It is. It
the
is.
first clinical focused nursing handbook for
Yes.
cannabinoid medicine. And you all participated. You helped. I mean, there were a lot of people in the nursing community that made this a reality.
Yes. Chapter
Amazing.
9. Chapter
Yeah.
9. So basically, chapter 9 is the cannabis nurse experience. So myself and some of the other cannabis nurses, actually all cannabis nurses wrote this book. So the
Yeah.
cannabis nurse experience was about what we've experienced in our communities
Yeah.
over the course of the years that we've been just doing this. So what do we do? Is we just been doing it. What do we do? Is we nurses are doers. Right? You know, we think of the biopsychosocial spiritual. We've learned about this plant and we're just doing it. And so the cannabis nurse experience was about all of our experiences and how we're evolving in this space as to how we take care of patients.
Yes. Yes.
Really cool.
Mhm.
And the big one in there, I'm just going to mention Carrie Clark again, was she really focused on number 6, the National Council State Boards of Nursing. She wrote a really, really cool chapter, and her chapter was about Gene Watson and the human caring theory. So number 6, Mark.
The nurse shall approach the patient without judgment regarding a patient's choice of treatment or preferences in managing pain and other distressing symptoms.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's big.
Yeah. Even though we may think we know what that person should do, and isn't that true in life? We always look at everybody else and say, God damn it, Sherry, you really should do that. Why do you do this? Right? We just do it. We're just judgment machines. We just judge all the time. Well, we have to as nurses, and this isn't just cannabinoid medicine, but it really applies to cannabis because of the stigma. It's like we need to just let it be, like step away from the judgment and allow the patient to choose.
Yes. Patient empowerment is the future of healthcare.
Absolutely.
That, right?
It's what we do.
Exactly. So
Right.
One of the things that we do to decrease judgment around the plant is we dispel myths. We are here to dispel myths. So for the past month, we've been dispelling a lot of the myths that are surrounding cannabis, because that is truly how we are going to bring education, decrease stigma, and help this to evolve.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sorry,
So
Sherry. It's
that's okay.
exciting.
So the myths, I know it is so
Listen, you know
exciting.
what? Myths have always been an issue around groundbreaking things that happen, right?
Yes.
Here's a myth: the world's flat. That was a myth. It was round. It's round, okay? And for thousands of years, it was flat. That's not true anymore, right? And the Earth revolves around the sun. It was a myth that everything else revolves around the Earth, right? Okay, Copernicus, what were you thinking? Um, and so here we are with cannabis, 100
Right.
years of negative marketing, the government that supported negative outcomes of every study, never published anything positive. As a matter of fact, just would take positive data and then squash it because it served their purposes, which
Exactly.
we know were based in other things other than than medical science. Okay, so week 1 we talked about the gateway theory. That's gone. Week 2, cannabis lowers intelligence. Gone. And week 3, cannabis legalization is linked to rising traffic fatalities. Wrong. Okay, so this week, today's myth: CBD is medical and THC is recreational.
So you guys all know how passionate I am about this plant. Okay. So I'm just going to give you just a little intro around my passion. So think about this. So there have been big debates at city council meetings, and those, that are uneducated truly about, plant medicine. It's just what they've learned and they've been conditioned. So I always like to say ignorance is bliss, but not for those who are suffering. Okay. This is important. So basically, for those that are suffering and need this plant, like I did, it saved my life. Knowing what I know now with a capital K, we're here to change this through education. So Mark and I have talked about this before, but when any type of cannabis is consumed in our bodies, it acts as medicine. However, we're trying to change like the dialogue around even what that means. So, I came up with, there's 3 ways to use cannabis, but I'm even going to shift that. 3 ways to use cannabis was medically, recreationally, and irresponsibly. And it all has to do with the consciousness when you choose to consume.
Completely
100% directly related to education and what you may have, what condition you may have, what kind of symptoms you may have, and how the plant may interact with your body. So instead of saying medically and recreationally, which we're going to talk about later in a show that we're going to be producing, but we're going to call it use versus misuse. Think about that. It's a really kind of a cool thing. Use of cannabis, misuse of cannabis. And the only person that defines what use and misuse is you. Right?
It's your life.
It's your life. So you need to ask yourself, is this plant helping me to live my best life to the best version of myself, physically, emotionally, and spiritually? And then the other thing too that we talk about is social consumption. So how dare we judge a patient for wanting to experience euphoria in a safe social setting?
Sherry, this is a perfect spot just to touch on something that I always like to bring up, and that is that, it is a matter of knowledge and it's a matter of changing opinion because, what's the number one drug that everybody uses either in a recreational format or irresponsibly? It's alcohol. And I would tell you that many people start out with a recreational experience and become irresponsible because of how the drug interacts with your body. Now, the only reason that alcohol is so pervasive in our society is that we say it's okay. We all agree this drug is okay. We're going to use this. However, it's toxic and it causes more social issues than any other drug that's being used today. But we all agree it's okay to use this drug versus cannabis. So I always like to point that out, that there is a hypocrisy in what we all agree to. And it's okay that we can not agree anymore that it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay to agree to disagree. However,
Yeah.
the more you have, knowledge is power, right?
Right.
Truly, it is power. That change of perception, just think about this. The more you know, right, the more you're responsible for. So a lot of times too, people don't want to take that responsibility. But I'm going to tell you, if you take the responsibility to be educated, you could save someone's life.
Totally.
Truly. Yes.
Yep.
So
Yep.
one of the biggest gifts we can give our patients, one of the biggest gifts we can give them, and this is for all medical professionals, is teaching them about the endocannabinoid system and how to have a safe experience for healing. And sometimes that may include feeling euphoric.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with feeling good.
Not at all. Not
Yeah.
at all. I mean, I dream of a Thanksgiving where everybody
Mm.
at the table consumes a little cannabis and nobody has any alcohol. Like,
Yeah.
what a Thanksgiving that would be. We'd all have a stimulated appetite. Everybody be happy. There'd be no alcohol triggers of aggression and anger. It'd be like the
Yes.
best Thanksgiving ever.
The best dank dinners ever.
It's okay to feel good, Sherry.
It's okay to
It's
feel good. So
okay.
take it just a little bit further.
Mhm.
Okay. So there's a lot of other adult consumers who
Yeah.
use the plant to enhance all of their other experiences that they do
Right.
for enjoyment.
Right.
Working out, right?
Right. Yeah.
Meditating,
Yeah.
walking in nature, dancing, watching movies, playing a game, listening to music, creating art, watching movies and
Yeah.
reading. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
it's just amazing how this plant can spark creativity, take
Mhm.
the edge off of things, help you to be grounded, present, and mindful so you
Right.
can take your other activities to the next level.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So
All right.
Sherry, let's talk about cannabinoids real quick.
Yeah.
We've identified well over 100 cannabinoids in cannabis. New ones are being discovered every day. I read a report about a new possible cannabinoid that they discovered recently, and they're researching it. They don't know if it's a derivative from another cannabinoid or a completely separate one. But here's the point: we're researching and finding these new cannabinoids every day,
Yeah.
every day.
Every
All
day.
right. So there's no good cannabinoids there are no bad cannabinoids. So
Did
we're
you hear that?
tell
No
no
good
good.
cannabinoids and no bad ones, right?
That's right. Right.
That's really
In and of
important.
themselves, they just do what they do in the
They
human
do.
body. We are really looking at what each one of them does, and they all have different interactions because we'll
Mhm.
talk about THC and CBD and how they interact with the receptors, but it's a different
Yeah.
experience altogether in the body,
Yes.
right? So those that have been studied can all be used to effectively treat conditions and disease. All of them, THC, CBD, all of the minor cannabinoids. Sometimes the side effect of euphoria, it's not a
A
bad thing,
bad
Sherry.
thing.
Like
Right.
who doesn't want to feel better? If you've
Right.
been struggling with chronic pain, and listen, I get up every day, I'm in pain. It's just the way it is. I've worked out since I was a young person.
Mhm.
I've I haven't taken great care of my body over the years. I've made some choices that may have impacted it, but every day I wake up with pain. Every day.
Mhm.
That gnaws at you over time. And if you have a condition that is worse, in chronic pain, that affects every part of your life. So a little euphoria is a good thing in a
Mhm.
safe environment, and
Exactly.
that's what we teach, right?
Yep. So for
Yeah.
many conditions,
Mhm.
people need to use THC to achieve that relief. And I'm one of those people, right? But
Yes.
I use the whole plant. This is what we're going to talk about whole plant medicine, THC
Yeah.
and CBD. So
Mhm.
I use the whole plant, and CBD and the other minor cannabinoids help to round off that
Mhm.
experience so I am functioning in homeostasis or balance, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
the thought, so just think that thought
Mhm.
that THC is purely recreational is complete nonsense.
It's a myth. It's
It's a
garbage.
myth.
It's
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 a myth.
it's a hugely important cannabinoid. And
Yeah.
again, Sherry, we will talk about the importance of having the full profile of the plant involved in what you use as a medicine versus just the THC molecule or just the CBD molecule, which of course is what pharmaceutical medicine attempts to do, is to
Single isolate.
skinny it down to just that molecule. Well, research has shown that it's less effective.
hmm So we're
So,
about whole plant, whole
yeah.
plant medicine. So Mark, how did these myths start? So there's so many different misconceptions about cannabis. And
Yeah.
basically, why did the United States adopt a cannabis policy that produced so much misery and so few
It
results?
because it's always been about politics and power
Mm,
and
yeah.
about white men,
hmm
honestly. That's what it's been about. And in the backstory, you know, we could go into that at some point. It's a real learning lesson. But what you have to take away from it is it was race-based. It was about controlling population. It was about power. It was about power. And
There
so
you go.
all of this war on drugs is completely and utterly about power. And there was no science in it. And as a matter of fact, and I love to tell this, the American Medical Association testified in Congress in 1937 at the hearing that they had about creating this marijuana prohibition, and they were firmly against it. They said it's ridiculous. We've used it for medicine for years. It's in our book of listed medications. It's safe.
600.
600 formulations, right? And these were pharmaceutical companies that were creating them. Eli Lilly, Pfizer, they all had cannabis medicine in their repertoire. But the AMA was in Congress and they were ignored. So the science, the experiential people, those who knew what it could do, were overridden by politicians seeking power. Flat. That's it. So that's how we ended up where we are today with this myth that it's evil, it's bad. Now, it is a medicine, no matter how you take it, right, Sherry? Which is your point.
Yeah.
So you need to understand that, you know, you need to use it responsibly. And that's where we get into the education about how to do that. That's the key.
And that's what we're here for. That's why we show up every day, because we love you all. So there is good news. So good news. So as we're evolving as humans, right? The future of healthcare is patient empowerment. Nurses are leading the parade. So as we combine traditional care, holistic, plant medicine, and other entheogens for healing our mind, body, and spirit, wow, are we upping the ante for people to truly live their best lives?
Totally.
Shifting. All right. So we have research tools at our disposal. And so what we're doing is we're dispelling myths and decreasing myths around this plant so we can save lives. So, you know, truly take the time to research, reach out to us, be open to new possibilities. You know, I was extremely skeptical at first. How could this plant work for me when nothing else worked?
Right.
But once I went down that rabbit hole and cannabinoids entered into my body, everything that didn't work started to work again. So we're here to change the stigma around what it means to feel good and to be high.
And give yourself a break, okay? You have to understand what it's like to be human. And there's a thing in play called cognitive dissonance. It's a psychological phenomenon that we all experience because it's part of being human. And that is, if we have a belief and we're presented with evidence that that belief is not actually correct, is not true, we will still discount that evidence and put it to the side just so that we can stand by our firm belief. So it takes time to get past that cognitive dissonance. So that's what we do, Sherry. Every week we talk about subjects, the same thing over and over again in different ways, because we need to chip away at that cognitive dissonance so that you can open up and understand that I held a firmly held belief, and now I understand that that was not the case. Like the world is round. It's round.
So, and I'll just give you just a quick example, quick and fast, is that's my mother. My mother blocked me on Facebook. She wrote me out of her will. She was completely anti-cannabis. Oh my God, I paid for Boston College and you're a drug dealer.
She had no control over that. That was cognitive dissonance.
It was cognitive dissonance. And now my mother is using cannabis every day.
She is safely and effectively.
Exactly.
Much more safely than any of the pharmaceuticals she was on.
Exactly.
But you had to chip away at it. You had to just stay your course until she was able to step into this new world. So there we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Monday, Manifesting Monday, March 1st. So we have a lot of exciting things going on the rest of this week, right? Mark, what do we got going on?
Oh, you know, every morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are here with you. And thank you so much for all of you who stop by on a regular basis. Guys, so good to see you guys and see your comments. Absolutely love the interaction. I mean, you make it what it is, and we're all in this thing together. Like all our energies are moving this thing forward. So every weekday, 8 a.m. And we got we have the Daily Love. That goes
Daily
out at
love.
8 a.m. every morning. And we've got that. And we have our Wednesday show, right? We have our Wednesday show. So at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays, we stream live Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse podcast. And we're here.
Profiling nurses. Yeah, we're profiling health professionals, nurses, people that have these compelling stories, because like Mark said, we are chipping away at stigma.
Yeah. And of course, Sherry, we can't forget our
pal
Joe
out there.
Joe is here.
I love Joe.
Joseph Smith in the Weeds Prohibition Talk Radio. We're on at 4:20 in the afternoon on Wednesdays. So many things Joe is packed into that 2-hour show. So many things. And we have a segment called Canna Talk.
Yes. And Joe in the Weeds Prohibition Talk Radio is up for an award. We've been circulating that through our pages, best podcast. So I want you all to take a peek at that. He's creating some great content with us. We're really grateful to be part of their platform. So we're doing Terpene Tuesday, where we examine a terpene and we look at how it affects, works with the rest of the plant and gives some specific conditions. And we talk about research and science. Our Canna Talk is all about Wellness Wednesday. So Mark and I, we bring up health awareness months with all these different health conditions that we must be aware of. And so we're trying to bridge, bring the endocannabinoid system into those topics. And so we're doing that on Wednesday.
Yes.
And then, so we're really grateful to be part of that. And then Joe and I are coming up with this new, which is going to be really fun. And Mark's going to be involved as soon as he gets back. But just think about this. So we talk about recreational medical and combining, right, for wholeness and wellness. So how about this really cool concept? I think you guys are going to love it. It's going to be really fun. So the Different Views Review. How cool is that? That's going to be really fun.
We do have different views, don't we?
We do have different views. Exactly.
Yeah.
So really excited to get that launched.
Yeah. And then finally, Frequency Friday. Listen, we're all just energy, right? We talked about it. Einstein's theory of relativity. Energy equals matter. We're all energy.
Energy, light, and information.
It is.
So make it an AFA day, everyone.
All day, baby, every day. AFA. Happy Monday, everybody. Sherry, what's it all about, baby?
Oh, it is totally about living your best life and helping others do the same.
All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks